Yo, what is up guys, Nakama here, and we're on Scribble Hub. I love this site. I've been writing on this site for quite a while, about 3 or 4 years. It's kind of crazy. This is the main site I use when I write my web novels. But more than that, I kind of just want to talk about what I have been creating throughout the ages. This is my series, all the series that I wrote. Starting off with Virtual Judgment. When was this created? Wow, 2020! That's still 2 years ago. Virtual Judgment is definitely my first ever web novel that I published online. That is still decently successful. 100,000 words. Yeah, it's pretty good. It's pretty successful. 27k views. I mean, it's alright. The premise is about a need being trapped inside a virtual world death game. And people in the virtual world death game, there's probably are millions of people who are kidnapped here, and they need to survive the waves. And yes, I know the premise is very similar to Sword Art Online. I actually kind of had certain people criticize me for that, but like, come on, dude, don't give Sword Art Online that super credit. It wasn't even the first video game story ever, and there are also a lot of things that are different compared to Sword Art Online. The main character is super weak and has to grow and grow up, and a lot of the battles and fights are centered around teamwork. 10 chapters in, a lot of characters get introduced, and most of the fights happen as a group. And I especially think I did a fantastic job of the fights. Despite me writing a lot of web novels and stuff, I think in terms of fight, this novel still remains the king. I haven't really made that many web novels that have a better fight than this web novel had. I think the battle system usually, basically the characters need to input certain command codes onto their wrist board. They have a board on their forearm, and they need to type in codes on their wrist board in order to activate their skills and abilities. That's one of the main games of the story. And also, yeah, there's a lot of super different powers that the characters have. I think the first arc centers around the main character going around and then meeting people and then trying to do a dungeon, and then also meeting some other people and doing some quests and stuff. Yeah, it mostly is about just that. I can't really get into the nitty gritty of things, but I'm super proud of this web novel. I still think this web novel, despite being my first, is probably still closer to my heart the most, and I'm super glad about that. My second ever web novel is Truth of Dreams, Lies of Reality. It's a pretty good web novel and actually really successful too. I probably should definitely continue this when I can, but who knows? Maybe may not. Maybe I should. Maybe I shouldn't. One thing that's the premise of this web novel is you can actually see the Wi-Fi lab stack. That's so sad. The premise of the story is that Ella is the daughter of the literal definition of a rebellious teenager. She criticizes her society and the things around her and her father and everyone and the school people a lot. She's a very freedom of speech type of girl, and one day she kind of wakes up in this dreamscape world where her mind is connected to this dream world. Whereas, so yeah, there's two versions of her. One version is in the real world doing her regular real life, and the other version is inside the dreamscape world, kind of flabbergasted at the situation and being woken up with her friend Jessica. And they also explore this dreamscape area, and they fight a lot of other people also. And yeah, so it's an exploration of the real world, but also real world problems and stuff. There are certain talks about it, but also how this Alepha girl is in a dreamscape world, and she fights a lot of other people and use super magic powers to fight. So yeah, unfortunately, this is only 18k word. You will see a lot of this happen with some of these works, because usually I think it's actually much better to write a web novel and then post it here and then see how well the premise goes. I think that's one way to go about it. It's an okay web novel, but notice that it also kind of ends. Kingdom of Bloody Tears. So Nanaha is a cop But also in this world, cops have supernatural abilities. Certain there's a plot line story going on where the royal blood has magical powers, and Nanha is our main character, who is a cop, and her sister Raja decides to unalive all of her family members. So yeah, Raja becomes Itachi and Nanha becomes the Sasuke of this situation, I guess. It's not a really good comparison, but yeah, her sister goes away, and Nanha, since all of her family members got killed, she has to now either choose to become the new queen of this country, or give her power to the Congress or whatever. And yeah, this it's an interesting story. Unfortunately, I still left it at 15k words. Yeah, it's an all right story. There's a certain bit of fights going on here and there. This is actually I entered this as a kingdom building for a Scribble Hub competition, but unfortunately, I couldn't do well in that competition. It's so hard to do well. You usually need to write 40k words in order to get well in the competition, and it's hard. It's really hard. Trying to win that competitions are super hard. If you're like planning to write a story and stuff, you should definitely write on Archive for Own or Scribble Hub or Royal Road. Writing all your stuff and not showing it to other people is a really bad thing. For one, if you think your web novel is going to get popular, you need to test your ideas out by posting it online, see how popular it is. Trying to get your web novel popular is really hard. It's a really hard thing to do. It requires a lot of dedication, because there's no story that just suddenly becomes amazing in an instant hit when it has a 10k. Yes, there are a lot of certain stories that people get attachment to, people who are that become interested in reading it. But a lot of the time, the most popular web novels that are long running. People have investment to it. Like, I mean, look at this. Let's just check out the most popular one. Let's see the most popular stories. It has 2 million words. World Keeper is probably the most popular series on Scribblehead, and it has 2 million words. It's stupidly long. Dungeon My Life, Rise of a Slave is 700k words. It's still a lot. A lot. Holy shit, that's a lot. The Goddess Alpha is reborn as Naruto's twin sister. 700k. 3 of Aeons. And also, yes, I think one of the big advantage of Scribble Hub is that it's a very free-form site, you know. A lot of smuts get posted. Unfortunately, a lot of writers have to write smut in order to be a little bit successful, but that's fine, you know. I know a lot of people who just don't like smuts and stuff, can feel out of place, but that doesn't mean there aren't any unsmut stories. If you go down, there's still a lot of fan fictions. Holy shit! I mean, like, there are a lot. I mean, I myself wrote not that many smut. I actually only wrote one smut, but yeah, usually a lot of first baits kind of win and become a lot popular. But that's kind of human nature, right? It also kind of has to do with other website also blocking those adult contents. So as a result, Scribble Hub just kind of becomes a huge attraction place for people who want to read smut, or people who want to read anime smut, I guess. Also, so moving back, yeah, King of Bloody Tears and 14 Plus, Trapped in a Murder Mystery and Card Game of Death. This isn't very popular, and also this is also a competition thing I wrote for a competition. It also didn't do well. And also look at the word count; it's only 7k. So yeah, I really wasn't was kind of not trying to win at all. I'm kind of a really lazy person. Sometimes words just stop going out. As soon as I realize I'm not enjoying writing and I'm not enjoying posting things, I just kind of stop. That's also kind of how it goes. But I still think the premise of the story is super interesting. 2 girls wake up in a locked room, and man wearing a pumpkin head on their head tells them to play the game. The loser of the card game dies. So it's Yu-Gi-Oh! but it's a deaf game. Yeah, the winner gets to participate in the deaf game called 14 Floors. Yeah, it's a Halloween themed deaf game. Yeah, it's pretty cool. I originally was writing this without any Halloween things, but competition happened and they said, "Oh, in order to enter this mythos contest, you need to choose one of these three categories." And I choose Halloween and altered my story a little to make it a Halloween themed story. Then I posted. Then I got lazy and I stopped. That's how it always goes. Okay, which game I tried to be a bit edgy. You can definitely feel the edginess with people download voting me a lot. But it's still kind of successful. I mean, the average is 117 words. So after being toyed and humiliated by my boyfriend Drake, oh yeah. When she's saying after being toyed and humiliated, she's talking about the sexual assault. Not just sexual assault. It's really fucked up. But yeah, I think I wanted to write a story, a hardcore story about where the main character is a female who was sexually assaulted. It's not just that. There's a lot of things that happened, and she is super like bummed out. Then she suddenly meets God, and then God says, "Oh, I'm going to create this tournament with 6,000 participants, and the top 100 participants will get their wildest wish granted, whereas all the other participants will either die or become the servant of God." Amoria, I think, was the main character's name, and she decided to enter this tournament. And surprise, surprise, her boyfriend who portrayed her, humiliated her, and Drake is also in this tournament. And it's also one of those dev game stories. I also wanted to have it a certain murder mystery type of aspect to it. Unfortunately, I still got lazy again. Same keywords. I can't believe I keep dropping all these stories. Sometimes I just want to write a story and then just drop it. It's kind of ridiculous how often I drop stories. But strangely, I think recently I stopped dropping that much. Maybe I'm still kind of dropping, but I mean, dropping essentially means that you have other better shit to do, right? This story I really am proud of. I'm super bummed out that people didn't care about it. It's probably one of the 2 or 3 Danganronpa fanfictions that exist in this website, but I still am extremely proud of what I have accomplished here. So if you play Danganronpa 1, Danganronpa 2, and Danganronpa V3, then I highly suggest you read this web novel, because the premise of this web novel is that everyone in the killing game in Danganronpa 1, Danganronpa 2, and V3 revived. People who have died have revived, and all these 48 characters, 16 from Danganronpa 1, 16 from 2, and 16 from V3, all these 48 characters meet one another, and Monokuma forces them into a death game of sorts. It has a more mystery thing to it, but more than that, it also is very physical. It's very warlike, physical in the first part. Unfortunately, and sometimes fortunately, one thing to note about this story is that due to having 48 characters, the pacing is so slow. I think this 48K words is just describes and shows the events that happen in about 2 days. And most of the majority of it words are about at the start of the game. But a lot of interesting stuff also happens at the start and the first day after the killing death game. And yeah, I'm really proud of what I did. I'm probably not going to continue it, but 48 words is still a lot, and I think it's great. I think I did a great job, but who knows, maybe I might continue. There is the possibility of me wanting to create a vampire visual novel out of this web novel, because all the Danganronpa character sprites are available on the internet. I can just download them and make a fan game out of it. That will be super cool. I can just literally do all of that by myself. And I just can't stop writing fucked up stories. So this story is also kind of messed up. Stargazer and Melrose are 2 female superheroes who protect world peace through fighting terrorist groups and warmongers. So they're superhero. It's a superhero story, and they keep their identity from the public, but not do not hide anything from one another as the people in relationship should. So yeah, the main two girls are lesbians. They're super cute. Yeah, I'm a huge fan of Yuri. You know, I'm kind of a Bumblebee shipper myself. You all probably knew about that, and yeah, I'm also a huge Yuri fan. And one of the girls, however, but not everything could be as open in the sun as there are some wiki series that even a lot of people could never accept. So what this means is that the main one of the two heroes is kidnapping other girls for sexual gratification. Yeah, it is as bad as it sounds, and it's really hard to stop them because they're superheroes. You know, when you have a super powerful ability, it's kind of hard to stop you. Even certain people know you're doing awful things, and you can also do quite a bit of damage with your superpowers if you decide to just be a giant douchebag. But and also this web novel is super successful because I think because it's a smut also. Uh-huh. Yeah, it's 223 words. Pretty fucked up, but you know, I really like fucked up stories because you know I just hate censorship. You kind of watch something like My Hero Academia and think to yourself that, wow, this is just a censored version of Naruto. In that sense, I definitely don't like beating around the bush. Like in my certain stories that don't really start off messed up, it kind of becomes really messed up certain towards certain storylines as it goes on. This story is so cool. Unfortunately, people just didn't give a shit about it for some reason. But yeah, I mean, to be fair, I also didn't write much about it. It was only 3K words currently. I might continue this, I might not. It's very unsuccessful, you know. I just posted this and see what will happen. People just didn't give a flying fuck. I mean, they might give her a flying fuck, but who knows? The premise is Ruby Rose woke up inside the dormitory room. She got off the dormitory room. 24 other people were there with her, and yeah. And she also met Neapolitan, and Neo tried to attack her. And yes, Ruby Rose, you know, is a Ruby character. But she also met Dio and Jotaro from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, Sasuke and Naruto from Naruto series, Eren and Mikasa from Attack on Titan. So yeah, these are all the cast. Son Goku and Vegeta from Dragon Ball, Sonic and Eggman from Sonic, Miuruma and Kokichi from Danganronpa V3, Mika and Nagito from Danganronpa 2, Hollow and Lawrence from Spice and Wolf, Snake and Clover. Wow, did I wrote Snake and Clover? I think this is a mistake. I think I changed this. Snake and Clover don't exist in this, unfortunately. But they're 999 characters, and I didn't include them. Phoenix and Godot also don't exist. I kind of cut them out in my. I did actually. I'm currently have written a lot that I just didn't post on the internet, unfortunately. Naomi and Saki and Minase are from the anime Girlfriend, and they also exist in this web novel. Chizuru and Kazuya from Rent a Girlfriend. Wow, there's two romance stories. And Yugi and Kaiba. I was writing this story as it went on. I really didn't want to plan at all when I wrote this story. I kind of want to test out my authentic writing, so I didn't plan anything at all. Kamina and Simon do exist, kind of. Yeah, and Lionheart and Young Will. Okay, I didn't add these two. I kind of didn't. Lelouch himself is also only there. Colin's not there. Leon and Saika are there. Yeah, it's a fanfiction of stuff. It has a lot of Danganronpa characters too. I think this type of story is just not extremely appealing, despite the fact that it could be very appealing. I mean, there are a lot of famous fanfiction that I know that has this. I just couldn't find or make it very popular. I guess that's my own fault, I guess. And I also didn't write much, so I can't really blame other people for not wanting to follow this. Basically, they get all these characters. Oh yeah, and Edward is there. Why didn't I write Edward? I don't know. Is there, and they all get kidnapped, and they're forced to play a murder mystery death game created by Monokuma. I had the really cool murder mystery ideas that I wrote, and In my Discord server, we play a lot of murder mystery, group murder mystery games, and I wanted to adapt those clever mysteries into web novels. And this is one of them, and I didn't continue it. I kind of did actually write a lot on my visual novel creating Renpai on my Renpai program that I have on my PC, but I didn't continue this web novel. Maybe I should actually just write a web novel and then try to adapt those into visual novels. I think going through that is probably much better, in my opinion. Like having all those stuff. And finally, we have Lust for Truth. I am so sad that this web novel is not popular at all. Like, this is one of my most unpopular works for some reason. I really don't understand how it could have possibly failed. I thought calling my story Lost for Truth. I mean, I didn't call it Lost for Truth specifically because the horny people would read it. No, that's not the main reason. Really, just want to write was a murder mysteries, and this is just a story about five detectives. And yeah, I just call it Lust for Truth because sometimes people just want to find out the truth. And even if we want to find out the truth, we do it in a very lustful and desirable or maddening way. Even if sometimes people say, "Oh, finding the truth is important," but the way we pursue truth is sometimes is kind of not great. So yeah, this is just the story of five detectives investigating the murder of a scientist, and the scientist is also kind of rich, and they have a lot of people in their household, and his daughter Hori is also missing. So you talk with suspects and stuff, and then you try to figure out the mystery, and it's still ongoing. Yeah, today I think posted today too, and there are certain people, three people, who are following the story. A total of three people. Kind of sad, but whatever. I don't know, really don't know why it's not that popular. You guys should definitely play the visual novel that through this link. I also linked it in my description. You can just search a Lost for Truth, and voila, you just find it. It's really funny how if you search Lost for Truth on the internet, you just find a lot of works that are just related to Lost, I guess. You can just find the website Lost for Truth on itch.io, and you can just download version 1.2. Version 1.2 is the latest one. Don't download version 1.1. I just put it here because people might be curious after playing this game. They might want to see how the previous version was like. I really don't know why it's not that popular. I guess murder mysteries people aren't just that interested in it. I'm super interested in card games, murder mystery, and stuff like that. Sometimes it's kind of gets boring seeing people punch each other. So having all this interesting mind game stories is pretty interesting. Yeah, and these are all my web novels. I usually write all my web novels here and then spread it across different websites.